What if I told you your cat has rules they expect you to follow? Would you know what they are? Most owners think they do, but cats have silent expectations that go way beyond food, water, and attention. These are unspoken rules your cat tests you on every single day, and if you keep breaking them, which most people do without realizing it, your cat won't tell you. They'll just quietly lose trust in you. Let's start with the one almost everyone gets wrong. 1. Staring into your cat's eyes. Have you ever looked straight into your cat's eyes and wondered why they suddenly turned away? You probably thought nothing of it. Maybe they got distracted. But here's what was actually happening. In cat language, direct eye contact is not love. It's a challenge. When you lock eyes with your cat and hold that stare, even for a few seconds too long, your cat reads it as a threat. It's hardwired into their instincts. In the wild, a prolonged stare between two cats is what happens right before a fight. So, every time you gaze into those beautiful eyes, thinking you're sharing a moment, your cat is sitting there, wondering why you're being aggressive. A study published in the journal Animal Cognition found that cats actively avoid eye contact with people who stare at them directly, but move closer to people who blink slowly and look away. That's not a coincidence. That's your cat telling you the rules. The right move is simple. Look at your cat softly, give a slow blink, and then look away. That's the real way to say I love you in their world. And if you've been staring without knowing this, don't worry. But pay close attention to the last section of this video, because where your cat sleeps at night actually reveals whether they've forgiven you for breaking rules like this one. The answer might surprise you. 2. Petting your cat for too long. Why does your cat go from purring on your lap to suddenly biting your hand out of nowhere? You didn't do anything wrong. At least that's what it felt like. But here's the truth. You did do something wrong. You just didn't know when to stop. Cats have a neurological threshold for physical touch. Once you cross it, what started as pleasure turns into overstimulation. And when that switch flips, your cat isn't being mean. They're telling you that you broke the rule. Researchers call it petting-induced aggression. It happens because the repeated stimulation on their skin starts to irritate the nerve receptors. Think of it like someone rubbing the same spot on your arm over and over. At first it feels nice, then it gets uncomfortable, then it's unbearable. The signs are always there before the bite. Their tail starts twitching, their ears flatten slightly. Their skin ripples along the back. Most owners miss every single one of those signals because they're too focused on how cute the moment is. The rule is simple. Pet in short sessions. When you see any of those signals, stop. Let your cat decide when they want more. That's not rejection. That's your cat teaching you how they want to be loved. And hey, before we move on, if this is already changing the way you see your cat, hit like and subscribe so we can reach more owners who want to learn the rules their cat will never meow about. 3. Moving their favourite spot. You know that one spot your cat always sleeps in? What happens when you move the blanket, rearrange the couch, or toss out that old box they loved? Most owners don't think twice about it. You're just cleaning up. But to your cat, you just destroyed something that belonged to them. Cats don't see your home the way you do. They map their entire world through scent and territory. Every spot they claim gets marked with the pheromones from their face and paws. That's their way of saying, this is mine. This is safe. I belong here. So, when you move their favourite blanket to a different room, or rearrange the furniture, your cat doesn't just feel annoyed, they feel displaced. That sense of security they built around that spot is suddenly gone, and they have no idea why. A study from the Journal of Feline Medicine and Surgery found that environmental disruption is one of the top triggers of stress in indoor cats. Something as small as moving a bed to the other side of the room can cause anxiety, loss of appetite, and even litter box avoidance. The rule here is respect what they've claimed. If your cat has chosen a spot, that's not random, that's a decision. And if you absolutely need to move something, do it gradually. Shift it a little at a time so your cat can adjust without feeling like their safe space just vanished overnight. 4. Talking to them while they eat. Do you ever talk to your cat while they're eating? Maybe you stand nearby and say something sweet while they munch away. It feels harmless, right? But your cat doesn't see it that way. Not even close. In the wild, mealtime is one of the most vulnerable moments for any cat. Their head is down, their senses are focused on the food, and their guard is lower than at any other point in the day. That instinct doesn't disappear just because they live indoors, so when you hover over their bowl, talk to them, or reach down to pet them mid-meal, your cat's survival brain kicks in. They can't fully relax into eating, because part of their mind is now tracking you. Even if they don't run away, the stress is happening internally. You just can't see it. What you can see is the aftermath. Cats who feel pressured during meals start eating too fast, and that leads to vomiting, food guarding, or even avoiding the bowl altogether. And in multi-cat households, the same thing can happen even without you standing there. When food bowls are placed too close together, the presence of another cat creates that exact same pressure. So even if you walk away, they still don't feel safe eating at their own pace. The rule is simple. When your cat is eating, give them space. No talking, no touching, no standing over them. And if you have more than one cat, give each one their own spot to eat. Those few minutes at the bowl belong to them, and only them. 5. Ignoring them when you walk in. When you come home after a long day, what's the first thing you do? Toss your keys, check your phone, kick off your shoes. But have you ever noticed your cat was right there waiting for you? Most owners walk right past them without a second thought. And to you, it's nothing. You're tired. You're distracted. You'll pet them later. But to your cat, that moment meant everything. Cats don't greet casually. When your cat shows up at the door or watches you walk in from across the room, that's a deliberate choice. They're acknowledging you, and they expect you to acknowledge them back. This isn't neediness. It's a social ritual that cats take seriously. Researchers who study feline behaviour have found that cats form greeting patterns with their owners just like they do with other cats they trust. A slow approach, a tail up, maybe a soft chirp. That's their version of saying, "I noticed you and I'm glad you're here." When you ignore that moment, your cat doesn't throw a fit. They just quietly file it away, and over time those missed greetings add up. Your cat starts meeting you at the door less. They stop chirping when you walk in, not because they stopped caring, because they learned that you don't follow that rule. The fix takes 3 seconds. When you walk in, give your cat a slow blink, say something soft, and that's it. That's all they ever wanted from you. 6. Picking them up against their will. Have you ever scooped your cat up for a quick hug and felt them go stiff in your arms, claws out, body twisting, ready to escape the second you loosen your grip? You probably laughed it off and set them down. But that reaction wasn't an accident, and it definitely wasn't your cat being difficult. Here's what most owners never think about. In the wild, the only time a cat's paws leave solid ground is when they jump, when they fall, or when something has grabbed them. That's it. There is no version of feline history where being lifted into the air by something bigger than them ends well. So even after thousands of years living alongside us, that instinct hasn't gone anywhere. Some cats learn to tolerate it, a few even enjoy it. But for most, being picked up without warning is the closest thing to feeling hunted that they'll ever experience in your living room. Behaviourists who study handling stress in cats have found that the body language right before a struggle is almost always there if you know where to look. The ears go sideways, the tail wraps in tight against the body, the back legs go rigid instead of relaxed. Most owners miss it because they're already mid-hug by the time it shows up. The rule here is simple. Let your cat choose when to be held, not the other way around. If you do need to pick them up, support their chest and back legs so nothing feels like it's dangling. Keep it brief, and set them down the moment you feel that stiffness. A cat that trusts how you pick them up will eventually ask for it. A cat that doesn't will just keep counting the seconds until you put them down. 7. Ignoring what their tail is actually saying. Does your cat ever sit perfectly still next to you, calm face, soft eyes, and yet their tail is flicking back and forth like it has its own agenda? Most owners read that as nothing, maybe even as a sign of contentment, like a dog wagging its tail. That assumption is exactly backwards, and it's probably the reason you've been caught off guard by a swat you never saw coming. A cat's tail is one of the most honest parts of their entire body, mainly because they can't consciously control it the way they control their face. A slow, gentle sway with the tail held low usually means your cat is relaxed and just thinking. A tail held high with a little curl at the very tip is a genuine friendly hello, but a tail that's thumping the floor, or flicking sharply from side to side while the rest of the body stays still, is your cat's nervous system telling you their patience is running out, even if their face hasn't caught up yet. Then there's the tail wrapped tightly around their own body, which usually means they feel unsure or exposed, and the tail wrapped around your leg or another cat they trust, which is them marking you with scent from glands near the base of their tail. That's affection written in chemistry, not just behaviour. The rule is to treat the tail like a mood meter you check before you check anything else. If it starts thumping while you're mid-pet or mid-conversation, that's your cue to slow down or stop, not push further, because the face still looks calm. 8. Watching them while they use the litter box. Do you ever wander over and hover nearby while your cat is in the litter box? Maybe just to see if they're done, or because the box happens to sit in the middle of a busy room. It seems completely harmless from where you're standing, but this is one of the moments your cat feels least able to defend themselves, and most owners have no idea they're making it worse. Using the bathroom is, biologically speaking, almost as vulnerable as eating. Their guard is down, their body is occupied, and in the wild this is exactly when a predator would strike. A litter box stuck in a loud hallway, next to a washing machine, or out in the open where every passing person or pet can see them, recreates that exact sense of exposure indoors. Add a box that hasn't been scooped recently, and you've stacked a second problem on top of the first. Because cats are remarkably particular about going somewhere clean, veterinary behaviour experts consistently point to litter box stress as one of the most common and most overlooked causes of cats suddenly going outside the box. Owners read it as spite or rebellion. It's almost never that. It's a cat trying to tell you, in the only language available to them, that the box itself has become a problem. The rule is privacy and cleanliness, without exception. Scoop daily, keep the box somewhere quiet and low traffic, and if you have more than one cat, the standard is 1 box per cat, plus 1 extra. Walk away while they're using it, the same way you'd want someone to walk away from you. 9. Handling them right after something startled them. Has your cat ever been frozen at the window, completely locked onto a bird, a stray cat or a dog outside, and the moment you walked over and touched them, they spun around and lashed out at you instead? You didn't do anything to provoke that. You weren't even part of whatever had their attention, but you became the target anyway. And that's not random. It's a very specific and well-documented pattern called redirected aggression. When a cat gets fully aroused by something they can see but can't reach, all of that energy has nowhere to go. Their body is flooded and ready to act, but the actual trigger is on the other side of a window or a wall. If you walk up and touch them in that exact window of time, you're simply the nearest moving thing. And their nervous system doesn't pause to ask who you are before it reacts. This is one of the most misunderstood moments in the entire relationship between a cat and their owner, because it looks personal and feels personal, but it almost never is. The rule is to give your cat time to come back down before you approach. Watch for their ears to move forward again, their tail to loosen, their breathing to slow. Once their body looks like theirs again, that's when it's safe to reconnect. Rushing in during the middle of that storm doesn't comfort them, it just adds you to the list of things they need to get away from. 10. where your cat sleeps at night. Have you ever wondered why your cat chooses to sleep where they do? Maybe it's on your chest, at the foot of the bed, or in a completely different room. You probably never thought much of it, but that choice is the most honest thing your cat will ever tell you. Remember earlier when we talked about staring into your cat's eyes and how they read that as a threat? This is where it all comes together. Because where your cat sleeps is the final verdict on how safe they truly feel around you. A cat who sleeps on your chest or curled up near your face is telling you something powerful. They're placing themselves at their most vulnerable, in their deepest state of unconsciousness, right next to the person they trust more than anyone. That's not just comfort. That's complete surrender. A cat who sleeps at the foot of the bed still trusts you, but they're keeping a little distance. They want to be close, but they also want an easy exit. That's not rejection. That's a cat who's still learning your patterns and making sure you're safe enough to fully let their guard down around. And a cat who sleeps in another room entirely, that doesn't mean they don't love you, but it might mean something in your daily routine is making them feel unsure. Maybe it's one of the things we talked about today that you didn't even realize you were doing. The beautiful thing is none of this is permanent. Every single day is a new chance to follow the rules your cat has been quietly waiting for you to understand. Think back over everything we just covered, the slow blink instead of the stare, knowing when to stop petting before the bite, respecting the spot they chose without asking you, giving them silence at the bowl, greeting them the second you walk through the door, letting them decide when they're picked up, reading the tail before the face, giving them privacy in the litter box, backing off after something startles them, and finally, paying attention to where they choose to sleep, because that's the one rule they can't fake. If even one of these caught you off guard, that's not a failure. That's just the first time anyone's actually translated what your cat has been trying to say all along. Drop a comment and let us know which rule surprised you the most, or which one you're already breaking without realizing it. And if you want more of your cat's hidden language explained like this, make sure you're subscribed, because there's a lot more they've been quietly waiting for you to understand. And now you know what they are.